In the era of product and service orientation, and according to most godfathers of quality and service excellence, 80% at least of the problems that materialize are due to leadership or systems that the organization designs and implements. This is certainly true when it comes to the traditional concept of quality, which is about products and services that are handed over to customers in a push perspective. This is in the era when customers were passive recipients of products and services without any input or any involvement at all. The current era has, however, empowered customers in an exponential manner, not only through customers becoming aware, well-educated, savvy, and extremely insightful about what goes on around the world and what is possible, and also what is delivered not only from the suppliers that they deal with, but from their competitors as well. But also social media tools have empowered customers to influence the things that they want in their lives and the critical aspects that they cherish most and they desire to be part and parcel of the experiences that they want to go through. The human component is always significant in the way experiences are being designed and presented to customers as ideas, as thoughts, as configurations, and as possibilities for them to indulge and for them to collaborate, be proactively engaged, and co-create as far as practically possible in order to personalize the experience and in order to derive from it memorable and fulfilling effects. The other point to bear in mind is that the significance of emotional aspects of consumption are real, and this dimension was not possible perhaps in the era of product and service orientation. The measurement that took place was very much about satisfaction with the functionality aspects of products and services, but also the degree to which a provider organization can deliver fitness for purpose through understanding what customer needs are and through high levels of intimacy. In the current era, the third dimension that emerged is very much about inner expectation. It's about stretching the physical and psychological needs by adding emotional requirements as well. As it has been covered significantly, the consequences of employee disengagement are extremely severe and could jeopardize the very existence of any organization. Employees who continue to be disengaged, ignored, isolated, confined to limiting roles, and positioned in hierarchical structures that do not allow wider involvement, participation, and being part of a unified, cohesive, and positive culture would grow the risk of failure and ultimately the dissipation of positive energy, of commitment, and the great loss of critical skills that any organization values and wishes to retain. The slippery slope of employee disengagement is once employee apathy sets in, this will become the start of a habit of negativity, of negligence, and of extremely dire effects on work within the organization and on customers themselves. As Figure 1 illustrates, the lack of commitment of employee is to be seen in terms of how it transcends in the form of lack of professionalism by adopting a complacent, careless attitude, and which then leads to the generation of a negative mindset where indifference is exhibited through insensitive behavior, and ultimately where total carelessness impacts externally on the customer through upsets and giving a disastrous experience. The recap of this domino effect is worth of consideration. The extent to which leaders understand and appreciate the consequential effects of negativity on their customers. The appreciation of creating a culture that preserves what is in the best interest of the organization, but also what is important for delivering according to the pledges made to the customer. The significance of starting with culture as a means, but also culture establishment as an end in itself. Leaders tend to make assumptions about an existing culture. They try to grasp it, to understand it, to feel it, and to work with it. In a modern era, this is a non-starter, and it is a nonsensical assumption to make. Leaders are responsible for creating the right culture, putting in place the right work environment, attracting, engaging, and retaining the right human capital, and delivering unique and memorable experiences in the right way. In order to avoid the domino effect and the slippery slope, leaders must focus on culture first, and then strategy and plans second. The understanding of what a culture is made up of and what it should look like is not a generic recipe and must not be treated with high levels of complexity. In a sense, an excellent culture is a culture of positivity, is a culture of inclusion, is a culture where shared values can be evaluated, is a culture where there are common principles and work dynamicity, is a culture of cohesive, interdependent efforts that cumulatively help the organization achieve its ambitious vision, is a culture of enrichment, of growth, development, learning, through participation, through proactive engagement, through teamwork, through mutual exchanges, through support, through knowledge transfer, is a culture where recognition is considered to be important and where there are no prima donnas or superstars and the rest. It's a culture where everybody is made to feel important. It's a culture where the structural arrangement of the organization do not impede the permeability of knowledge and expertise, the engagement which is limitless, the empowerment which exists at all levels, with the degree of influence that employees can have by releasing their potential and unleashing it so that it serves the organization and the customer to the best level possible. It is also a culture which is propelled through trust. It is a culture where leaders can make themselves accountable by being at the helm and overseeing how the culture development evolves and how the enrichment process takes place, how everyone is inspired and passionate about achieving to a high level, and how empathy is exhibited day in, day out. It is also a culture where everyone knows what is at stake and where all employees put the best interest of the customer at the starting point. And it is also a culture where everyone works hard to preserve the future of the organization that they have grown to love and one that they wish to commit to for the future. The significance of the culture and engagement must be tracked on a regular basis in order to ensure that if there are any concerns, they are brought to the surface to be dealt with. If there is any frustration, leaders are there to listen, to empathize, to put people's minds at ease, and to alleviate any fears or anxiety. It is also important for leaders to ensure that role model behavior is a self-perpetuated cycle, and what needs to be done is to support this, to observe it, to nurture it, mentor it, guide it, and positively recognize it. Empathy in its various forms is about care, consideration, and consciousness. Employees who are engaged are those who understand what is at stake, but also they have high levels of consciousness. Their behavior is guided by their firm belief about the significance of the customers, about the sensitivities involved in what they do vis-a-vis the customer, about the valuable contributions that they make in order to bring happiness within the organization, but also deliver happiness to the customers. That code of conduct is not to be found in textbooks, but rather it is gradually built in the form of great characters, exemplary behavior, stories of incredible contributions, passion that drives individuals not to give up and not to let the customer down, but to work beyond all the possibilities that exist, always to find better ways, to find solutions. And the ultimate aim is to ensure that customers feel happy and are not let down. This is, in a way, the extent to which empowerment can be stretched in a limitless manner. The impact that is generated through engagement is first and foremost measured in terms of expression from the customer through the impression created by the employees themselves. And the expression from the customer is their elation and how they describe their happiness through what has been delivered and through the level of engagement and empathy that has been exhibited by the employees themselves. Cumulatively, the significance of employee engagement must be the number one item in the agenda of leaders who want to impact at a very high level and who may wish to drive very ambitious strategies, and particularly leaders who believe that the ultimate success is creating happy and delighted customers who are loyal and passionate about working with their preferred providers for replenishing their future needs, and through seeing their expectations either of replenishment of delightful experiences or living new experiences being materialized.